What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Skeptics Podcast, episode 16. Coming at you since our boy got elected as president, so let's go. And so it's got chill, it seems like.
Yeah.
A lot of things have been kind of going back to normal. When I've watched social media now, it's actually a little bit more boring, which is probably a good thing. But how you been, John Boy?
Been doing good. Been trying to stay busy.
Been out there hunting.
Yeah. This year's been, I guess you could call it an outdoors milestone for me. I never really took hunting serious until this year, so I just recently shot my first deer, and I did it exactly the way I wanted to do it, which is with a bow, compound bow, and I shot a buck, which was one of my requirements. I wanted to try to do a first deer ever to be a buck with a bow, and so I was able to make that happen. I'm most grateful. Give all of my capabilities definitely come from the big guy above.
And you got another goal now, right?
I've set a very ambitious goal. I would like to. There's not a better way to put it, because at one point I thought about doing this with fishing, but that one's almost impossible. It would take a lifetime. But I would like to hunt every animal the state has to offer. And so we live in the state of Arkansas, and so I'm going to try and hunt, by regulation, obviously.
Okay, I was about to say.
Every animal the state has to offer, and see if I can't make that happen. Especially, I think big game will be the easiest and hardest, because some of our big game requires a lottery. So I just put in, and then they'll draw names, and maybe I'll win a tag, or maybe I won't.
So, have you researched this any?
Not really. Some of them I already know about.
So what is the big game that Arkansas has that you know that you'll have to pursue?
Well, we have elk in the state of Arkansas that are more of like an eastern elk. They're not as big as some of the ones out west. Don't get me wrong, they're still massive creatures, but I don't feel like they stand nearly as tall as some of the ones I've seen out in like Colorado, those areas. But
right,
that one alone will be difficult, because I feel like there's people who go lifetimes to try and get these types of tags, and they don't. So we'll see what happens. I feel pretty optimistic, though. I'm feeling pretty good about it. That and alligator.
Right on.
Yeah.
How in the world do you go about doing that?
What part? Getting the tags, or just hunting these animals?
I'm figuring you got to get tags. How hard would it be to get alligator tags?
Well, it's the same thing. It's a lottery as well. I'll put in, and I don't think it'll be. Well, we'll see. I know a guy who just recently got his tags, and he said it was hard not only to get the tags, because it's taken him years to get one, but then he wasn't even able to get a gator, because it's, by regulation, you have to have control of the animal before you dispatch it. So that means I can't remember what the other one was.
How does one hunt a gator?
Well, if it's anything like you see on TV, you bait them, they eat that, and then you have to pull them up and then shoot it. Or
you shoot it with a shotgun, or what are you shooting it with?
Well,
I think I remember there used to be a TV show on that was something to do with making guns.
Okay.
It was not based out of Arkansas, but it had a lot of people in Arkansas in it. But it was a dad. They had he had a good-looking daughter.
Okay.
One of his employees ended up marrying the daughter.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what everybody's names are, but it's not a show anymore. They got in a bunch of legal trouble, I'm pretty sure. But one of the things that they came up with was like to me it kind of looked like a duck call,
okay,
but it had a slug in it, and it was meant for when people would catch the alligator or crocodile.
Yeah.
That you put it on top of its head, and it just kind of pops one in there from point blank.
Right.
So I think they were using the shotgun cartridge, but I could be wrong.
So on TV, I feel like I watch a lot of people hunt with like 22s and different calibers, but I feel like the state regulation is a shotgun. I think you use a
14 shell or something, right on the dome.
Yeah, pretty much. But I want to try and do it the way where you take, and I would like to figure out, I don't know, maybe if I could do it with a good buddy or with a brother of mine, because I think it's going to require 2 men, and I don't know the rules on that. I'm going to have to look it up, but because I want to do the way where you find the gator and then you snare it. So you know, like when you see like in the movies where like the dog catcher, he's got the pole, it's got the wire, and then you pull it tight. Yeah, I want to do that. I'd like to get like a 6-foot gator. That seems like, I don't know, I might tussle with something a little bigger.
I wonder what the average gator size is in Arkansas.
In our state, I don't know. I've seen them. I've been up close to gators in the state, so that was really cool. We fished, so it literally. So I thought that was a joke. Story time. This is my episode, by the way, today. If y'all are wondering. And so, I was fishing down in South Arkansas in Texarkana area, and we roll up in this little area, this little cove back on the name. It's Millwood, Lake Millwood, and we're fishing over this log. And you always hear them stories where it's like, oh, gators look just like a log, dude. He had moss and stuff, and the type of vegetation that was in the lake, the types of grass and stuff was on his back. That gator looked just like a log. We were 6 feet away, and it was a massive gator.
He was just chilling.
And he was chilling, and we were fishing on the other side of him.
Get caught on him, like, man, it's a big log, and he starts moving towards you.
We didn't realize it was a gator until my buddy, he got hung up on something. He popped it like that, and the lure landed on his back. And the gator, like a submarine. I was like, it was so cool. It was probably one of the scariest creatures I've ever seen just disappear, because when he went down, the mud kicked up.
Right, he's just staring at you the whole time as he goes down.
So that means he was watching us like this, and then, and it kicked up all that mud, the silt on the bottom. He was gone.
The only time I've seen an alligator or a crocodile was in Florida. And it was like, it didn't really look like it belonged where it was, because we were at like a campsite and it was just chilling there. But and then I caught one time at Fuddruckers. Is that how you say it? Fuddruckers.
Yeah.
I've heard people say it a couple different things, but you toss the piece of meat over there, and then a little baby one bites onto it, and then you're pulling it up like, I don't know, 20 feet, so you hope the thing don't drop because it's really high. But yeah, I caught a little one like that big.
Nice. I held one about that big. I went to a gator farm one time.
Grab it and start flipping around.
But down there at the beach is interesting. I don't know how we're talking about gators so much, but when we were in Alabama, we ended up taking a camper down there one time and camping just like, here's the ocean and the beach, here's the road, here's the camp.
That's exactly how ours was.
Okay.
In the same place. We were in Alabama.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it's the exact same place we.
No, yeah, that's right. Ours was in Alabama because I remember we went into Florida, so we stayed at
Okay.
It was
Gulf Shores.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
And because there was also a slight hurricane going on, and we stayed in my tent. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, we might have stayed at the same spot, but there was a little tiny whiny creek that had a little bridge over the top of it, and there was just one chilling down in there.
We actually seen several when we camped there, but now in the state of Arkansas, I've seen two that I can guarantee I know were gators. Obviously, the one that I was right up on top of, and then one when I was in the Arkansas River, and it had to have been a huge gator because I was probably 75 yards away from it, and I could see it clear as day. So it had to have been a massive gator to be 75 yards out, and I know for a fact it was a gator.
Let's do it. Let's go back to you hunting for a minute.
Yeah.
So you've hunted before this, right? This is not the first. Now this is the first time you've bow hunted. And got something.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe the first year I've ever bow hunted ever. I think I've only ever gun hunted before this. But like I've went out, so like I can remember the only other year that's been as good as this year for deer up where I live was it's probably been 7-8 years ago. But I went with my dad, Mel, and we went and we were in a ground blind. This is back before we had anything fancy at my place. We had a ground blind. And we're sitting right at the corner of this field, and I swear, like it had been 6 or 7 deers showed up, and that was the most I'd ever seen at one time until this year, which I've seen about the same. I've not seen more than that at once, but.
Man, are you normally hunting with like your brothers, or are you just out there by yourself?
In the past, I've normally gone with people. I've only ever hunted by myself a couple times, and I really started last year, and I started going more, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and I was kind of just trying to figure things out, trying to decide if I really wanted to or not, and part of me was like, well, I don't even want to have to deal with the animal, but if I'm not going to cut it up, I don't feel like paying somebody else to, so that was kind of, I was wrestling with that last year as well, and I've had many opportunities, like going with my dad, where I could have shot at deers, and we're talking 20 yards, maybe 20 to 40 yards. So, real close distances, that's nothing for somebody with a gun. That's what I was gun hunting all those times. But then this year I've started going by myself a lot, and so I was fortunate. I went and my brother was there, and he cut me a deal, and huge thanks to him because I didn't realize that he hasn't shot a buck yet, and so we climb up in the stand together, and he goes, "Hey, first shooter is yours." I said, "Okay." Well, the first shooter that walks out is this big 8-point, and I was very fortunate to get it done, and I can see why people get so jacked by doing this stuff, because I've become very energized since that point. But it was really special that I did it with a bow, and really important and crucial to the story because I feel more connected to the whole process, from like me getting a stand, putting my own stand up, and going through these things. And like my dad gave me his bow, just because he don't really use it anymore. He ended up buying a crossbow. If he wants to use something during bow season, he'll hunt with that. So I'm fortunate enough that I didn't have to buy a new one. I inherited his bow, and then Robert Whaley put me on to a place in Heber, and that guy got me all tuned up. And so that was really, really cool because most shops I've ever been into try to get you to buy a new one.
Right, for sure.
And so for him to be like, "Dude," he's like, "this thing," he's like, "has it been inside its whole life?" I'm like, "Practically. It's never been stored anywhere but inside. So only time it was ever out is if they want to shoot bow, obviously." And so it's always been kept well. And so that's a big plus, not having to go buy a new bow and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And
just how much these things probably running?
Oh my gosh! I mean, it ranges. Obviously, you can get a cheap one, but if you want like a good bow, like that I've got gifted to me, you're probably looking 600 to 1,000.
So as much as a rock,
yeah,
good rock.
It's like a good gun, yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's just me guesstimating. I didn't even shop around, so I don't know what the going rate is, but no, that was really an important piece. And yesterday I went out there, and this leads into something I'm going to ask you is, so on my way to the stand, yesterday evening, because morning I didn't hunt. Yesterday evening I'm going out there, heading to the stand, and I get about halfway to the stand, 2 different ones, I'm hunting a different one, and I see a bald eagle take flight from about the middle of the pasture that I'm hunting. And I'm gun hunting. I'm trying to get one with a muzzleloader. And I've always felt a very spiritual connection to things throughout my life, but only in the past few years have I became very religious. And so after my grandpa passed, he had always he loved bald eagles. He had like statues of them in the house and stuff with like American flags and whatnot. And he's very patriotic in that way. But it's always reminded me of him, and I've almost always kind of felt like it's God telling me that he's given him the ability to watch over me, or keep an eye out for me, or some kind of sign. I've never been able to pinpoint it, but it's always been good. Those days are always good days. And so,
That's how you said you were going to ask me something, so I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word it. So, have you ever had any spiritual type moments in your life, or anything that you could feel something more than just the thing that it is?
Like, are you talking about relating to family members kind of like you, or are you just talking about
Just in general,
just anything?
Maybe you were driving down the street one day and you seen something and it was like, man, the way it hit you was just different. It hit you in a way that meant more than just like whatever it is that you seen or heard or.
Yeah, mine normally, from what I've picked up on that it's happened before, we were kind of talking about this about on lunch a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like it's mine are showing me more of something that I need to be doing, or something of that level. I've went through a time, so I've always believed in God. That was never not a thing.
Right.
Obviously, there was times that I was a lot stronger with him than other times. Um, after I turned 19 is when I got baptized, and after that, it wasn't that moment was what really started it to make it more important. I guess you would say it was just I had more drive
Right.
to really try to dive into it and try to just learn about as much as I can. I don't have a lot of moments. I don't really think that really make me think stuff kind of like what on the same level that yours are.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it is God. I mean, we've talked about this before. There's a lot of things that we're not meant to understand, and there's only one man that can understand them. So you think it's got to be that one man that can understand them.
Right.
So for that aspect, like that, pretty much the story I told you at lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at on the way to one of my last customers, and I just so happened to find some money in my wallet, and didn't think it was $200. I didn't. It wasn't like I knew it was in there. If I knew it was in there, it'd be. I mean, he knows me. If I knew it was in there, it'd be in like some kind of stocks or my savings account or me and my wife's account. But anyway, I found it cash. It was kind of strange. And I've gotten really good lately at being just grateful for everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I get a good meal, if I come home and everybody's in a good mood, even if it's not that, if even the whole day sucks, when I can lay down in bed, I can at least be like, hey, I'm grateful to have this bed. So I've been really, really good on that part. So when I found it, nothing hit me yet. It was just like, I found it and I was like, huh. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, grateful to have it. No, nothing less than that. And I actually kind of started thinking. Some would probably call it, I guess, like about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking, I was like, what can I buy with this thing? I was
Right.
like, I found $200. I was like, I don't technically have to tell Cammy I found $200.
Right.
I could go buy some ammo or whatever the heck I wanted to buy with it. But anyway, so the rest of the day goes on. I'm at my last customer, and something gave me a sign that, for one, I didn't need this anyways because I completely lost it.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I was looking after it because I didn't know where it was. It
Right.
was just I randomly found it in a pair of my pants. So I didn't need that $200.
Yeah.
But somebody else did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not in my possession anymore.
Right.
But I don't know if it was God telling me, hey, this is what you need to do, or if God was like, I'm going to put something in his position and we're going to see if he does the right thing.
Mm.
Because we have free will to the end of life.
Right. Yeah.
And I make a lot of mistakes. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
And I like I said, I don't know, but I know after it was done, I know that I did the right thing because I did not take glory for it. It was all to God. I literally, the person that got it, there was a note that was left, and it didn't have anything about me on it. It literally just said, God is good, brother. That is literally what I wrote down on the thing. So this guy doesn't even know where he's got this from.
Right.
Like it's anonymous to this day. But it was something was tugging on me to do it. Mm-hmm. And I've known the guy, and you kind of know me. I make friends with people very quickly, and there's probably a bad part of that somewhere down the line. Luckily, I haven't seen it a lot, and I've known this guy since I've been dealing with this customer. Good guy, good friend of mine. Awesome dude.
Right.
And he was just telling me a story, and then when he told me that story, it was God that was like, "That's why you found that $200. That's why. It wasn't because you need to go buy more stuff. It's because now you have the ability to change somebody's life." And it was even crazier before that whole conversation was talking about. We were literally talking about God. Mm. So it all went together really, really good. But it's instances like that speaks to me more than it's like seeing something and me thinking that he's
showing you something.
Showing me something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's how I would answer it.
Well, and I've been thinking on this a lot, and it always gets my mind churning when these kind of events happen to me. I've had several happen in my life with the bald eagle type incidents, uh, where it's like seemingly for no reason. Like I was nowhere close to that bird, okay, and there's no reason for it to feel spooked, and so for it to just take off like it did, or like I've had one that flew really close to me, etc., etc. I've had a bunch of different accounts, and I think those moments, looking back on it, I remember after he passed, there's been times where I'm like, man, I wish I could ask a question.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I'm
I know
like,
100%
man.
what you're talking about.
And at first, I didn't think that, but then as time went on, I'm like I could use some help in this department, and that would have been the guy. He's lived a freaking awesome life from like start to finish, like where he started, where he ended up, just freaking magnificent. And I've been thinking on that, and maybe that's what those moments are. It's giving me the moment to stop and look at like how things are going. What was that day like? What made it so much better? And maybe that's they're a higher power telling me to take note of a day like today, and let's make more days like today. And how did that day work out for me versus other days? And I could take that in a lot of different ways, but I'm thinking now on it after talking to you about it. If there's anything to take away from me just starting to get my mind on the ball on this topic, I've been doing a lot of soul searching and whatnot, if you want to call it that. I'm really soul searching. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Working on myself.
Yeah, just self-love.
Self-love.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely been a topic with me and this guy recently.
For sure.
And trying to figure out what that looks like. And I think I've got a good idea now. And maybe I didn't have such a clear picture as I thought I did previously of what I want, who I want to be, what that means for me, and what that means for everybody else around me. And
I think something on your point, keep your thought, but I just not thought about this.
Yeah.
With my instance, and the way that it seems like God talks to me sometimes, in your instance, like the bald eagle, that it seems God talks to you that way. I think a lot of the ways that I can pinpoint now that it's something bigger than me is that after it, I feel at ease. And it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, there's plenty of times where I'm driving home because I'm in a car for 6 hours every day, and I'm like, I don't know why, but it's gonna be all right. I don't know why, but it's going to. It's gonna keep going, because once you start thinking bigger than yourself,
yeah,
ain't nothing bad gonna happen. If you die, you're going to a place a lot better than this.
Yeah,
I know it's kind of scary because the something that really throws me for the loop is the people that's like, I understand everybody wants to go to heaven, but the people that's like, oh, I can't wait to go to heaven. That statement's so hard for me to think because I do, of course, want to go to heaven.
right.
But God gave us this beautiful green planet. Why not want to just try to stay on it and be a bigger impact on it when you can?
Yeah.
I mean, our whole mission here, and we've talked about this countless of times,
Oh yeah.
is to try to bring more people to Him.
Mhm.
How do you bring more people to Him if you're in heaven? Your job's done.
Yeah.
So you can sit back.
Got retired.
You got retired. Who's at your back? What were you gonna say?
But no, I've been thinking about all that stuff, and I've had a lot of time. Obviously, when you're out in the woods by yourself a lot.
That was gonna be one of my questions to you. Is what can you tell about yourself, or if anything's different when you're getting to sit by yourself? Because you talk about patience.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there for the longest time in your own thoughts. I can't remember there was another podcast guy I listened to, and he was really talking about nobody can sit. Oh, it was Zach Justice from the Dropouts podcast. This is a like funny podcast. It's not even serious, but he said something on there that was so true. We have so many things going on in our life that we look at. We don't ever have a time to just sit with our own thoughts because this thing creates the rest of our thoughts. And that's interesting. So going back to the question though, was there anything that when you were by yourself, that you were noticing, or that you knew that hey, um, I don't, you know what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so I got 2 points to take away from things you've said. The first one is, and I think you may have hit the nail on the head, is that easy feeling you get after you have one of those moments, like a spiritual type moment. Uh, and I think it's carried over in the day. I've been really relaxed today, very chill. I've been known to be very tense and sometimes intense person. I bring a lot of energy, and so maybe that is the right way to put it. I feel at ease. But on the other one is sitting with just myself. I think that might be the key to some of the stuff I've been missing recently. Is I'm so caught up, always trying to do something or be somewhere or working on stuff or helping somebody. Or I'm always trying to find a place to be getting something done or helping. But I've not taken any time for myself, and so I don't struggle with being by myself. I think I do, or I used to maybe after it's like imagine you help somebody, you've worked all week, and you've done all this stuff, and you get to the end of the week, and you're like, great, I've worked all week long. Whereas now it's like, I get that, it's not a lot of time. I've only been hunting on the weekends and stuff, but it's enough. And so I've been enjoying sitting up there. I've even been really considering starting to write down some of my thoughts, as well as logging, obviously, what I see out there. Because I find that really interesting, like, man, the way the animals are interacting today with this stuff that's going on. But it's been really peaceful, and I think I've become more in tune and a better friend and family member by having that time to myself again. Because it's like, I don't want to say like recharging, because it's not like I show up with more energy, but I guess it lets me relax. It's my way to relax and be connected. And so that's what I've used it as, that time by myself. I've enjoyed it, just sitting there. And like this morning, I ain't even gonna lie to you. At one point, I was so freaking tired, I leaned back in my stand.
Passed out.
I closed my eyes for just a second, and I felt like my foot slip a little bit or whatever. Just, give you that spook feeling. I spooked back awake. But
I just now thought about it. Do you wear the walkers when you hunt?
Well, I try to wear them for as long as I can. But if
Yeah.
I'm out there for 3 to 4 hours, sometimes it really starts to hurt my head and I have to take them off. But yeah, whenever I'm gun hunting, I do take them with me. Uh, I, and I know what you're thinking, because it helps amplify the audio.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I use them just on my walk down there.
Yeah.
Because I can hear my footsteps super loud.
Right.
So like if they're actually really quiet, but they sound loud, if I can make them more quiet with that enhanced audio, I think it really helps give me a little bit of an advantage.
I've noticed, which we've talked about this a ton, that I'm normally a very people person.
Yeah.
I like to be around people all the time. I like feeding off other people's energy. I like giving my energy to other people. That's just one thing that I like to do. But every now and then there is a moment where you need it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, you said you don't like to use the word recharge. And I don't really know if that's the right word either. But in a way, it seems like it takes stuff off your shoulders for a bit of time. And it's almost like working out. Because when you come back to work, the same weight's going on your shoulders. It's not like it's changing. It's got the same problems all the time, but for some reason it's recovered enough to where it can hold it a lot better till it can't.
Yeah.
So I think there's ways of God doing that to you, whether you don't know it or not, whether the hunting thing or not. But I think that little bit of ease that you get when your shoulders drop after you think you've experienced something with Him, I think that's a little bit more recovery. I think it's where you're like, I can keep going after that.
I wonder now, because you saying that's probably the most time I spend with Him, besides my like dedicated time at the end of every day, reading the good book, which is something I advocate for people to do, is find the way that it works for you. I mean, I'm not saying you have to read the Bible every day or anything like that. That's right. If you do, but I mean, I'm not a big church goer. I don't like go to a church and stuff. And if that's what you do, that's awesome. But how often do people have the time to thank Him? And how often do people have or not really have, because you have it.
Oh yeah, you.
How often do you take
I was
the
about.
time?
I was about to say, dude, you have it, and you don't have to take a lot of time.
No.
Like it can be something as simple as you driving in the car, and uh, your wife calls you and says, "Hey, there's dinner on the table." That's something you could literally be like, "Thank you, Lord."
Yeah.
And when I say that, it may say like I'm joking, but I mean dead serious.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's no joking. I'm thankful for every single thing that's happened to me.
And so that may be a key component is I have started a new process with hunting. Because used to, I'd ask for like a successful day, man, Lord, let me get one today, yada, yada, yada. Well, I think that's a bad way of looking at it. And so I've started asking when I go out there, and I've been doing the same thing, and I may change up my verbiage a little bit, but it's along the lines of, let it be your will. Whatever's supposed to happen out here
I'm
today,
saying that exact same thing.
let that be what happens, and let everybody be safe. That's the only two things I ask for. I want everybody to be safe, please. I don't want nobody to get hurt while they're hunting. Goodness. I mean, you can really get messed up. But at the end of the day, there is a plan to a certain degree. Like we have free will, but there's also a plan. And so just let that play out. And I think by giving it that kind of space and the time, taking the time to talk to Him, which sometimes that leads into a whole conversation with Him when I'm out there. But I've spent a lot more time talking to the good Lord when I'm in the woods, and I think maybe that has something to do with that process, and like people talking about having to deal with their self being alone out there. I don't feel so alone when I'm out in the woods, especially when I talk to Him, before I go out there every time. But you feel that He's with you. He's got your back, and whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen.
Right. Yeah. No. So tomorrow, if my wife doesn't fill up all of our fridges, tomorrow will be the first day I've really went hunting before.
Taking it serious, as I would say.
I guess. I mean, I'm not even as serious as you are. I just want food.
Right.
But it makes it sound like I'm just really struggling.
Hey, man.
Hey. But so this is the first time I've got like a dedicated deer hunting gun.
Yeah.
And have shot it a little bit, and it reminds myself that 5.56 doesn't hurt near as bad because 30-06 does. But I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hype myself up even more because I have no problem with waking up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that I have to wake up and now I have to drive 25 minutes to a place. We'll also get ready and all that stuff, and then just go out there and sit. The sitting part I'm actually looking forward to, because I'm kind of the same way you are now. I can I get to go out there and really think about all kind of things, and it's like, and it's weird because I can think about anything out there, but it's probably not going to affect me if I was thinking about it like somewhere else. Like if I was thinking about finding some end mill or something in my car versus me sitting out there and like, you know what? Just now thought this end mill might work good for
right.
this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different. But that is going to be my I'm looking forward to it for the ease of mind. Mm-hmm. It's just something I can go out there, chill. If I don't get anything, I'm going to be okay. If I do get something, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's just however it goes.
Yeah.
So, and I like this talk, so I don't want to jump too far off of it. But you're kind of saying something about safety, so I kind of want to hit on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that hunters shoot other people. That blows my mind. I mean, because something that we train on, like, is literally knowing what you're aiming at.
Yeah.
Like, if you see something like a shovel or whatever you want to call it, and it's like camo, and you're like, I think that might be a buck or something. You blast it, and it's an 80-year-old dude. I mean, you're like, how does this happen? Or I understand the part of you see an animal and you shoot it and you're not thinking what's behind it and it keeps cooking.
Right.
But I would hope that number goes down every year due to technology because I just don't. I just don't. I don't see how. I mean, watch them tomorrow get hit. Like, where is this coming from? But that's something I always think about.
That was something that was like an original concern of mine. Thinking that through because I want to eventually go to public land. Luckily, my family has enough land currently. I hunt on private land, it's land that we own. Uh, so.
But you're not gonna pull up and look at something that's camo and think I can shoot that.
Well, so first off, there's rules, okay, already, and that is something I've always thought about. Is like if I see something moving. Well, here's the other thing too.
Doesn't mean you just blast it.
Right. There's rules in place too of like you're supposed to have binoculars with you. Technically, you're not supposed to look through your rifle scope when you see movement because what if it is a guy, you know?
Right.
And so, I think some of that comes down to discipline.
Honestly. Yeah, dude. I'm just sitting here thinking like, isn't one of the rules of guns like know what you're aiming at?
Yeah.
Like,
but think about this. So, I heard a story one time of a guy, which turkey hunting. A lot of people have been hurt bird hunting. If you're curious.
Yeah, right. I know.
Bird hunting is like one of the ones that gets people. But there was a guy sitting, and there was a tree stump, and he kicks his feet up. He props him up on the tree stump. Next thing you know, boom, 12 gauge blast him. I heard this on another podcast. I think it was Stephen Rhinella or somebody telling it. Well, this guy who he's friends with, okay, is like, he's like, what the heck? And so he's hollering out, you know, he's got his feet shot. And there's two different stories I gotta tell. And the other guy walks up who shot him and was like, pissed. And he was like, why are you mad at me? I'm the one that shot. And the guy was like, well, why'd you prop your feet up there like that? He was like, why are you just blasting everything that moves?
That's right.
So,
that is absolutely crazy. So
that's wild. But then I heard another story of a guy who got shot turkey hunting. I think he was walking through the woods. Some guy seen movement. Boom! Shoots him right in his butt. And the other guy felt so bad.
I don't know.
He quit hunting. And the guy who got shot became his friend. And over like a period of a couple years convinced him to hunt again. And they stayed friends. And they became hunting buddies. But
lucky you got hit with bird shot.
Well, dude, them turkey loads are powerful.
I know, but there's still a bunch of little BBs versus big ones, aren't they?
Yeah, but so you're supposed to put a choke in that keeps them a lot tighter.
Yes.
So I mean that could really jack up.
I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like hitting like double on bucks legs.
Be jacked.
Lieutenant Dan ain't got no legs no more, brother.
Pretty much.
Holy cow, man! But dude,
yeah, I've never understood that, and that's why like archery season, I feel so much safer to go out into like public land.
Get clocked by a bow.
Because it's like, oh yeah. Well, and here's the thing, especially where I live, there's not a bunch of like wide open places you're going to make super far bow shots.
Right.
You're in a lot of timber. And so, you know, unless they're 20 yards or so within, I don't have to worry about it. But like, you don't have to wear orange during that time.
Yes.
But still, nonetheless, like imagine, I can't get over like me walking through the woods wearing camouflage, and a deer's solid brown, okay, and some guys like there is
right
lights me up.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, just because I mean, you think one of those arrows would go through you?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm getting a pass through, dog.
Just cruises right through. You're like, what?
It would be bad too. Cause like the modern day arrow, man.
Woo. That's what I'm saying. It's like like Joe Rogan shot that one at Elon Musk's truck, and it was like 300 something grains or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, arrows in general are pretty heavy. Cause like, I think my broadheads are 125 grains, and I don't remember how much my shafts weigh, but I shoot a bigger, heavier arrow. A lot of people shoot skinny arrows that I've seen recently, but I'm just thinking about like the broadheads and the poundage. Like,
I know.
Like I'm shooting at 65 pounds. Like that arrow's ripping.
I know. I think Joe Rogan was shooting at 100.
Yeah, his just cranked way up.
That's crazy.
So, but
right, did your arrow go right through?
No, it was almost a pass through. So once we got the hide skinned down and I could see both sides of it, I could see where it was cut internally on the other side.
Did it break your arrow?
No, I was actually I say fortunate. Some people are gonna think that's. I mean, if you're not into hunting, it, they're not gonna enjoy the story anyways. But no, it went in, almost went all the way through, but it went in, stopped, and wallered its way back out, and it didn't get broke off.
So it's good to go.
Yeah, even as he ran through the trees. I'm gonna keep it as a souvenir.
Gotcha.
Just because I mean, I can.
One day that thing will be hanging on your house until one day dude breaks into your house and you're like,
Yeah, that's the one I gotta use.
yeah, it just pops in right there.
I've got like 25 more arrows. I bought a whole bunch. So I didn't have to go back up there. Plus, it makes it easier when I'm practicing. If originally I only had 5,
Right.
arrows, I have to go get them out the bag. So I had 25 now. So I don't have to walk down there as much.
Right. It's very.
But yeah, the safety, good night. Oh, and people who use a tree stand, please use a harness. Please. It's not hard, and you're not a wussy. Like this morning when I fell asleep, that's what's going to get you. I'm not saying you're going to slip and fall out of your stand. I'm saying you fall asleep up there or something. Or it's raining.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wear a harness to catch me if I was to fall. But,
I'm just gonna sit by a tree.
hey, dude, that's how I started.
That's all I got.
That's
Just gonna sit there and just chill out.
That-
I might lay on top of a hay bale. You never know.
They make these hay bale blinds that I think would just they look a little ridiculous, but I think
Hey, that's
it
it.
for me.
If it works, it works. It ain't no big.
I think it
ain't
would
no
work
thing.
perfect in our field.
Yeah.
But I need somebody to put me out some like staged hay bales though to make that one look more realistic. But the problem with that is if they place stuff in the way of where I could shoot, now you don't have as much.
Right.
Just stuff I've thought about.
How going back to we're still staying on hunting a little bit. I feel like this is one thing though where you figure out if your equipment's good equipment or not. Like when it comes to your clothes and everything.
Oh yeah.
Like when I have to feed horses and it rains outside, before I actually got gear that's meant for the rain, it sucked.
Yeah.
And now it's like I throw it on and I'm like, hey, this is no big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge key point of something that I dealt with, and just people who were like, they're like, why'd you buy all that stuff? It don't even matter because X, Y, and Z, especially during like gun season. So
Right.
I'm wearing this big orange vest, which by the way, I thought that was the most BS ever because I was still bow hunting when gun had opened. It was muzzleloader season or alternative firearm in state of Arkansas, and I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, these deers are gonna see me. Well, I look like a giant orange popsicle, and I still got it. So.
Yours are colorblind, aren't they? I thought that was the whole premise.
I think they are, but our buddy Connor keeps telling me they can see red and they can see white. So I don't know what that's about. But
I say those are the two colors mixed together that makes orange. Is that not?
I think so. No, red and white.
No, that'd make pink. You're right.
Yeah.
It'd be red and yellow.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But like that's why in all the old school pictures you see of people hunting, they wear stuff like what you're wearing.
That's what I'm gonna wear this probably exact same.
And so I've always made a joke that I'm gonna put on my peepaw clothes one day and go out there and shoot a monster. But I have bought.
Nobody better shoot me if I'm in this. That's I mean, my gosh.
Okay.
But I'm also shooting on public land or private land, so we're
Yes, you shouldn't get shot anyway.
yeah, exactly.
Now
So
you really got.
if somebody really shoots me, it's on. like you better be ready.
Been here.
Yeah, you should have been here, dude. That's right.
But no, on the topic of the clothes, so like my shirt I'm wearing today is an Origin shirt. I'm a huge Origin fan.
Right.
We met Jocko recently. Oh, it was mad.
Dude was really small. Just
he was jacked, but he wasn't tall. You know.
Yeah, he was cool.
But he was cool. But he's a part owner in the company, and I've been loving their products. So that's the hunting clothes I've been wearing, and so that is a key component for me this year. So in past years, I have froze. Like starting right about now and getting later into the season, as it really gets cold. Yeah, I've got proper layering system now. It's like, what's funny is like Spirit of Systems did an awesome video on like cold weather layering.
Awesome video.
So if you don't want to have to buy like hunting clothes, watch their video and you can scale it to whatever you're doing. So that's just a little tip for you. But proper layering, dude, it's insane. And like today, this morning, I put on my wading socks that will go with my wading boots, my waders, which are a really nice thick wool padded sock, so that my feet are going to be warmer inside of my leather boots. Doing the small stuff like that, make sure that you have the right materials that's going to keep my feet they're not going to be hot, but they're not gonna be cold either.
Right.
And then like I have wool pants, and I've got wool. The only word to come to mind is leggings. They're not leggings. They're thermals.
Yeah. They're still leggings.
Yeah.
Because thermals can be a top too.
True.
Yeah. No, I have some of the exact same things.
But that right there, oh my gosh, that has been such a game changer for me.
When do you see one on a woman?
Well, one of these days. But
one of these days.
no, but that plays a key role for me. Not just the camouflage pattern, but like having good layering system, and their stuff's broken down real easy.
Yeah.
That's partially why I like it.
Because the thing I'm thinking about, dressing for warmth in the cold when you're stationary is different than versus you're moving.
Yes.
Because if you got some stuff on it that's just stationary, and then you're gonna go ruck for a mile, you're gonna be sweating, brother.
Yeah. So that was me this morning. So I've been watching a bunch of content. This guy was like, "Dude, if your spot feels like it's dead, you've been there for 2-3 hours." He said, "But it's a gut feeling." He said, "Move." He said, There is something to be said for sitting all day.
See, this is the stuff I'm interested in because I've never heard that. I've heard stay in the same spot since you get there until when you leave.
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of research, and a lot of people will probably tell you that. Probably a lot of people tell me I'm wrong. But I've been watching Realtree, the camouflage company.
Yes.
They have their own YouTube channel, and they have this one called The Advantage. That's a series.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking awesome. And I was watching this one guy in particular, and he said, that's how his grandpa and his uncles all hunted, and they shot a lot of deers. Don't get me wrong. He said, but he's hunted before, and there was one spot, and he even took his whole tree stand down. He said, I hunted there for 4 hours, and I said, this spot's garbage. He said, this ain't gonna work. Pulls the whole thing down, moves it 150, 200 yards to a new location, relocates it. Next morning, he hunts the rest of the evening. And was like, oh, this is a good spot. It's a good spot. He could feel it. Next morning, shoots a giant deer. Huge one.
Huh.
And so this morning, I also get a little bit antsy sometimes. I do really good, and I sat like a statue this morning for hours, a couple hours.
You put all the stuff on you that's supposed to make your scent go away and all that jazz too?
No.
Okay.
So first off, my clothes, some of them are made of, I've got wool layers, and that was a natural scent blocker on its own. I do use the odorless deodorant, just to try and help with controlling my own body odor, but that's it. I don't spray my clothes with nothing. I don't wash my body with any of that stuff, and it seems to be working just fine. Because I do look at that as like, did they have that when these guys started hunting all these years ago and they were shooting these crazy deers?
That's what I tell Cammy about these horses. You think these horses had blankets and covered areas and everything back in the...
They were tough.
Exactly.
They got the job done.
Very much.
And so it's a similar kind of mindset I have. But also, the clothes I wear do have natural odor blocking properties, antimicrobial properties.
So what's the likelihood if, say I go hunting tomorrow, I'll give me a spot I'm going to be hanging out at for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. And I'm going to get up and move 100 yards. Wouldn't you think that makes the chance of me seeing any deer go down because now they're probably hearing me?
Possibly. Depends on location, where you're at, stuff like that. I've been wanting to test a theory I have, and I'll share that in a second, but I don't know. I'm torn. I actually think I spooked a deer to my original spot this morning. So like, I was hunting down here. I thought, I'm starving. I didn't bring no snacks with me. I should have brought a snack with me because normally I hunt till 9, but it was closer to about 8, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start looking and thinking about packing up. And that about 8 rolls around, I climb down, hike all the way around the property, which that goes back to wearing the right clothes. I was about to die now. Get to a spot, sit down. I've made a little bit of noise getting in there, but I did a little bit of deer calling, trying to imitate being a deer, which I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still learning that.
Yeah. Just spitting on it.
But then I heard some noise, and it would make sense based on the way my property's laid out. I got done hunting there. I hiked out, went to the house, got me some breakfast, and then I got some pictures on my cam of a deer that had showed up in front of my original spot. But that would make sense. Imagine if they're bedded down. They weren't going to move. They're laying there. They're going to be there for a long period of time. They're bedded up.
Right.
And now I've done hiked over here by where they were at, they heard me coming, so they ran off. Well, there's a lot of food over there by where I hunt currently, my other spot, and so they're like, "Well, I'll go where the food source is." And so I think that may have been what happened this morning. And so yeah, there is something to be said for that, and some of it is just me trying to learn my woods. Because if I'm out there and I spook deer, okay, well guess what? I know that's where they're going to be.
They're going to come back even if you spook them?
Oh yeah, like the areas in which the deer run on my property. That is like their dedicated paths that they're running year round, or at least the ones I've found so far. Like I know some places that they travel, and that's why like where one of my stands is set up, that's a place where they travel a lot.
You just need a rooftop tent. Camp that thing out there and just lay in it. Then you're shooting from the prone.
Yeah.
You ain't never going to miss.
Man, I never thought about shooting out of the tent.
Yeah, you ain't never going to miss.
Because I've been talking about, we have a box blind. It's an enclosed wood
Put it on
blind.
the back of your truck?
It's on stilts. And I thought about putting a cot in there.
Yeah.
And just waking up, folding down the window.
Yeah.
Shooting one out of it.
No joke.
That's something I've really been thinking a lot about recently. Which then gives you that little bit of that camp vibe too, which I love. But
yeah.
So I don't know. The spook and the deer, I don't think they're going to run away from my property. And so,
what about a gunshot?
So that's one that I've been really curious on. I've been like, does a gunshot really affect them? And so me and my dad was talking. He's like, hell no. He's
I
like,
don't think so.
He said, he shot a deer one time, and he climbed down. So he shot one with a gun, close to a food source where they eat. And when he showed back up with the tractor to haul that deer out so we could clean it and process it, there was already another deer there heading to go eat. Didn't give a F that there was one dead.
He's like,
or that there was a gunshot that just went off.
Wonder how that one died.
He was like,
walking.
That's odd.
yeah.
So
hey, Ricky.
And so maybe the place where I live is an oddity.
Yeah.
That because we don't pressure them as much as there is other places. Obviously, if there's a place where there's high pressure, those deers are going to be more skittish. And yeah, you're going to.
What's pressure mean?
So a place
you go out there and blast them a lot.
Yeah, it's a place that's hunted all the time.
Gotcha.
There's always.
They've told their cousins that
exactly.
You're coming. Yeah.
And so they're always hearing gunshots, and it keeps them on edge.
Right.
And every year they're used to feeling the presence of predators like us being there. Stuff like that, them feeling that kind of pressure. It's a similar thing that people think I'm crazy when I say this in bass fishing. If I'm fishing a pond and I see a fish on the bank, so like where the bank, where the land meets the water, and I see a fish, sometimes their back will be out. That's how shallow a bass will get sometimes. I can see one. I have been known to crawl to get close to that spot because they can see the shadows and like outline of you moving. Well, guess what? They don't want to get got. They get got by birds and stuff. So if there's something overhead, they're going to swim away. They're going to go deep.
So you come at it from under.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. Come out of the water and you got a bass.
I've always said it'd be cool. Come with a scuba tank. Just grab one out. But that's a real thing. So like, they see those visuals too, and it's just the movement. And so there is something to be said for just sitting in one place and waiting them out.
It's funny. We're talking about how animals react. So we went to Spring River.
Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah.
And my wife is obsessed with catching animals, wherever she can catch. And there's this big old bullfrog, dog. I mean, sucker was this big. It's huge. So we all took kayaks, of course. And Cammy's like, I need you to get in this kayak. And then we're going to ride straight to this frog and I'm going to catch it. I said, what? I said, frog ain't going to get close to it. Yeah. Cammy goes, if you hit them with a flashlight, they're blind and they can't see you until you get up on them.
Okay,
I'm like, now, as soon as they see the light, they're going to get under the water. Well, I mean, what else would they do?
Right.
Boy, if it wasn't like a deer looking in headlights, we shined a light at that frog and that frog was like this. And I'm cruising up to it. I'm watching it. It's still just staring. I mean, it couldn't see us. We were hitting it with like 1,000 lumens of light. I mean, it was just... Kimmy gets right on front for like from you just this hand, and Kimmy's blocking, and Kimmy goes, yeah, just big old massive bullfrog. It was absolutely wild. But yeah, every animal reacts a little bit different. Like if you hit a light in front of a horse, they freak out.
Right.
So it's like, but this bullfrog, I'm talking, he was playing chicken. He was like, I'm watching. But
That'd be interesting.
is there any other tips that you would give me, somebody that's never hunted before I go tomorrow?
Well, so I haven't hunted much.
This be a great way to wrap up the pod.
But I think stuff I've done that I think has helped me out is one, show up with a plan and an open mind. So like so it took 4 different trips for me to go this year before I got my buck.
Right.
And every time I went, I made a mistake on the first 3, and I learned something every time. And that 4th time, I thought, okay, I made a mistake doing this, this, and this. I ain't gonna do that this time. And so I think that helped lead to my success. And so some of those things are.
These are you're about to lay out the mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
what common success.
Go for it.
The first one being, if the deer are skittish, okay, then you really need to try and wait when they're not looking where they can see you. You obviously need to be in place. You need to be still and be kind of looking around. I try to look around with my eyes, not my head.
Right.
Okay, I'm not trying to make a bunch of movement. But I was so eager and I was shaking like hell that I was like they're standing and they could technically see me from a side eye, and I'm still trying to like get my bow, get in position, just wait. That deer's gonna move, and I can make some quicker movements. And so that's one of them.
So move when the deer moves,
or when he's not looking your way.
Gotcha.
So like if he's eating, or if he looks like this. Now make a movement. Especially like if you're gun hunting though, and when I gun hunt, I'm always holding it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did that last.
Lick that safety off and run with it.
That last time when I was bow hunting, I had it ready. I'm not trying to do a bunch of movement. I'm looking around with my eyes. Got my bow sitting on my leg, upright, same way I do with the gun. I got my gun like this. So I don't have to get ready. Everything's already stationed where I need to be. I don't have to move so much. All I had to do was pull the bow back. Another important one. Whenever they go to start walking off, if you need them to stop, so like they walk in towards you, facing you, or they've walked past you, or whatever's happened, and they finally get broadside, how you want to shoot them.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to dome them.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is always an option.
I got you.
If they're trotting along, make some kind of noise. The classic is a meh. Everybody does that to get them to stop, so that you can make your shot.
Then blast.
And then shoot. So that was something else I did. So I pulled my bow back. Deer kept walking, and I was so laser focused I forgot to try to get him stopped. So that was something I'd done wrong. And then the other one is just patience. So like I was out there, so probably need to just sit really for as long as you can, or want to, or have you allotted a time for it.
Right.
How much time you have to hunt, I would probably just wait it out if it's your first time. Because I had one instance where I was hunting, a spike came out, which I can't shoot. And I'm like, well, I ain't gonna see nothing. He trots off. And I'd been out there for probably 3 hours. And I thought, well, I'll go to the house. As soon as I go to the house, my camera sends me a picture. A couple of deers.
You knew you moved.
Well, maybe they did. But maybe they didn't. Maybe I was just impatient. Maybe if I'd given it another 30 minutes, I could have got me one that day. So, those
people hunt all through the day?
Yes.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. There are some people that do. Old timers are the ones that you really hear about doing that. A lot of people, I think, morning and evening hunt. Or if you can get a
why is that?
They're
just more likely to move?
They're moving a lot more during those times, at least where I live. Now, you can get a pattern. That's why like having that camera is so important. So I can see what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, from 6 to 7:30 is the most times I see deer in the morning on that camera. So guess what I'm going to be doing?
You'll be hunting at 7:30.
I'm going to be, yeah, just out there at 8.
Yeah. Yeah. As if you're drinking.
Yeah. Right.
Be out there at 8.
But if you can establish a pattern, so like the deer up there at my place almost aren't ever moving during the middle of the day. So like in the afternoon time, they're not normally out.
So where are they at?
In the woods, buddy.
Why don't you just figure out where they hang out in the woods?
I'm working on that.
Okay, got you.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Well, John Boy, thanks for all the information.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hyped about tomorrow. We're going to see what happens.
Good, I'm excited for you.
I mean, the only hunting thing I've ever even really indulged in was literally hunting Hitler. So I got a little bit of that experience. I'm anxious to see how it's going to be tomorrow. So, yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the
I
things.
hope it goes well for you. I hope people watching got something out of my ramblings. I feel like I do a lot of rambling.
No, you're good.
That's something I'm working on.
I enjoy it. I'm trying to practice on shutting up.
So, but yeah, I appreciate everybody listening. I think it's been a good episode.
Yep.
And
I agree. This is gonna be one the hunters love.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
well, gun people, Christians, anybody I guess could love it. Yeah. Donald Trump fans. I mean, now Joe Biden might even watch this. He voted for Trump. So, sorry, Kamala. But we're going to wrap it up here. Anything else you got?
Nope.
Right on. Hope y'all have a blessed day.
Yep.
This will be coming out on Wednesday, so have a great Wednesday, and every day after that, be thankful for everything that you get. Make your life a lot greater, and go love yourself.
Yeah.
Go out there and kind of what he was talking about. And take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
For yourself, so you can kind of sit there and think about everything that you got going on in your life, and ways you can put better towards it.
Yeah.
So, thanks guys. Have a good one. Later.